English learners. Welcome back to Jay and May English Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak English naturally, confidently, and in real life. I'm May.
And I'm Mr. J. Whether you're listening on your morning walk, on the bus, or just relaxing at home, we are so happy you're here with us today.
Okay, Mr. J, I have to say something. Every time I try to talk about my travel plans in English, I freeze. Like, I know where I want to go, I know what I want to do, but the words just don't come out right.
Oh, May, you are not alone. So many learners feel confident in their own language, but the moment someone asks, "So, what are your travel plans?" in English, blank face.
Exactly. It's like my brain goes on vacation before my body does.
That's actually a perfect way to describe it, and that's exactly what we're fixing today.
So, today's topic is talking about travel plans in English. And honestly, this is such a real-life topic.
It really is. Whether you're chatting with a coworker, meeting a new friend, or even going through airport immigration, you need this language. And if you stay with us until the end of today's episode, you will know exactly what to say, how to say it, and you'll even pick up some natural phrases that make you sound less like a textbook and more like a real English speaker.
Yes. And hey, if you're new here and you want to improve your English step by step every single day, hit that subscribe button right now. We drop a new episode every day just for you.
Every single day. So let's get into it.
Okay, Mr. J, so let's start from the very beginning. When someone asks me about my travel plans, what's the most natural way to even start that conversation?
Great question. So think of it like this. Imagine you're building a house. You don't start with the roof, right? You start with the foundation. When you talk about travel plans, your foundation is three simple things: where, when, and who with.
Oh, where you're going, when you're going, and who you're going with. That's it?
That's your starting point. So a simple answer to "What are your travel plans?" could be, "I'm planning to go to Japan in December with my family." That one sentence covers all three.
Wow, that sounds so natural. I'm planning to go to Japan in December with my family. I can say that.
Exactly. And notice I said, "I'm planning to go," not "I will go" or "I go." The phrase "I'm planning to" is very natural for future travel talk.
Oh, so I'm planning to is like the magic starter phrase?
Yes, it's one of them. You can also say, "I'm thinking about going to," when you're not 100% sure yet. That sounds more relaxed, more natural.
You mean like, I'm thinking about going to Thailand, but I haven't decided yet.
Perfect. That's exactly how a native speaker would say it. "I'm thinking about" means it's still an idea. "I'm planning to" means it's more decided.
Oh, that's a really useful difference. Okay, so what comes after we say where we're going?
This is where conversations get interesting. After the basics, people usually ask, "How long are you going for?" or "What are you going to do there?" And these are actually really fun to answer.
Okay, how do I answer how long are you going for?
So you'd say something like, "I'm going for about 2 weeks," or just a short trip, maybe 5 days. The key word is for. Going for 2 weeks, staying for a week, traveling for 10 days.
Going for. I like that. It's so simple, but I never thought about using it that way.
Most learners say, "I will go 2 weeks," and that sounds a little off. Going for 2 weeks is the natural version.
Really? Just adding for makes that big of a difference?
It does. Small words make a big difference in English. That's one of the secrets.
Okay, wait, here's the interesting part. What if I don't have all the details yet? Like, what if I know I want to travel, but I haven't planned everything?
This is so common and so important. You don't always need a full plan to talk about travel. You can say, "I haven't figured out all the details yet, but I'm excited about it."
Oh, that's so real. Sometimes I'm just dreaming about a trip, you know?
Exactly, and dreaming is the first step. You can also say, I'm still in the planning stage. That tells people you're working on it, but it's not final.
Still in the planning stage. I love that. It sounds so mature and organized.
It does, and people respect that answer. It's honest, and it keeps the conversation going.
Okay, so we've got where, when, who with, how long. What's the next layer?
Now we go deeper. This is where things change. Let's talk about how to describe what you want to do on your trip, because this is where you can really show your personality in English.
Ooh, yes, because some people want to relax on the beach, some want to explore cities, some want to eat all the food.
Like you, May?
I mean, food is very important for travel research. It's serious work.
It absolutely is. So when you talk about activities, some great phrases are, I'm really looking forward to trying the local food, or I can't wait to visit the temples, or I'm hoping to do some hiking.
Okay, I hear 3 different phrases there. Looking forward to, can't wait to, and hoping to. Are they all the same?
Good catch. They're similar but slightly different in feeling. Can't wait to, that's high energy, super excited. Looking forward to, positive and warm. Hoping to, you want it, but you're not sure it'll happen.
Oh, wow. So if I say, I'm hoping to see the northern lights, that means I want to, but I know it depends on the weather.
Exactly right. You can't control the northern lights, so hoping to is the perfect choice there.
That is so smart. English really has a phrase for every feeling.
That's what makes it so rich. And the more you practice these small differences, the more natural you sound.
Okay, Mr. J, let me ask something that I think a lot of listeners are wondering. What about when you're talking to someone and they ask you to recommend a place? Like, where should I go? That's scary to answer in English.
Oh yes, that question puts people on the spot. But here's a simple formula. Give a place, give one reason, and if you can, give one tip.
A place, a reason, and a tip.
For example, you should definitely check out Chiang Mai. It's beautiful and the food is amazing. Oh, and try to go during the Lantern Festival if you can.
Oh, that sounds so confident and helpful. You should definitely check out. I'm writing that down.
That phrase, you should definitely check out, is gold. Use it whenever you recommend a place, a restaurant, a hotel, anything.
Most learners don't realize this, but recommending places is actually a huge part of travel conversations, right?
Absolutely. Think about it. Before a trip, during a trip, after a trip, people are always asking for recommendations and giving them. It's one of the most natural topics in any language.
Okay, so we've been talking about plans before the trip, but what about during the trip? How do you talk about what you're doing while you're actually traveling?
This is so fun. When you're traveling, you shift to present tense or present continuous. So instead of I'm planning to visit, now you say I'm visiting, or we just got to Rome, or we're about to check in to our hotel.
We're about to check in. Oh, I love that phrase, about to.
About to means something is going to happen very soon. We're about to board the plane. I'm about to try this street food for the first time.
I'm about to try something very spicy and I'm nervous.
That is a perfectly valid travel sentence, 100%.
Okay, what about when the trip is over? How do you talk about a trip you already took?
Now we move to past tense, and the most natural way to start is it was incredible, or it was such a great experience. And then you follow with what you did.
Like, we went to Barcelona. It was incredible. We visited the Sagrada Familia and ate so much amazing food.
Perfect flow. You've got the place, the feeling, and the experience. That's a complete travel story in 3 sentences.
3 sentences. Okay, listeners, you don't need to write a novel. 3 sentences and you sound totally fluent.
And if you want to go deeper, you can add, the highlight of the trip was, or the best part was definitely.
You mean like the highlight of the trip was watching the sunset from the top of the hill?
Beautiful. That's not just a sentence, that's a memory. And that's what travel conversations are really about, sharing memories and making connections.
Okay, wait, I want to go back to something. What if the trip wasn't perfect? Like, what if something went wrong? How do you talk about that?
This is where things get really real, because travel doesn't always go smoothly, right?
Oh, definitely not. I once missed a train in a foreign country and I had no idea how to explain it in English.
So for problems, you use phrases like, unfortunately, we missed our flight, or the weather wasn't great, but we made the most of it.
We made the most of it. What does that mean exactly?
Make the most of it means even when things aren't perfect, you still find a way to enjoy it. You do the best you can with what you have.
Oh, I love that. It's such a positive phrase. So even a bad travel story can sound good if you say, we made the most of it.
Exactly. And people love that attitude. It shows maturity. It shows resilience.
Okay, this is where things change again. Let me ask about one more situation. What about when a friend is planning a trip and you want to ask them about it? Like, how do you start that conversation?
Great point. So some natural openers are, so I heard you're going to Italy. What's the plan? Or are you all set for your trip? Or even just, how's the trip planning going?
How's the trip planning going? That sounds so natural and caring.
It does. It's a great way to show interest without being too nosy. And it invites the other person to share as much or as little as they want.
I feel like English has so many polite ways to show you care. That's actually really beautiful.
It is. And travel is one of those topics that brings people together instantly, because almost everyone loves to talk about travel, even if they haven't been anywhere yet. Dreams are travel plans, too.
Aw, Mr. J, that was deep.
Well, it's true. Talking about where you want to go someday is just as valuable as talking about where you've been.
So you can also use all these phrases for dream trips, like places you haven't been to yet but you really want to go.
Absolutely. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. Someday I'd love to visit Iceland. These phrases are perfect for dream destinations.
I've always wanted to go to. That's so dreamy and natural. I'm using that.
And it starts amazing conversations because when you say that, people immediately want to tell you their dream destination too.
Okay, I think it's time for our vocabulary moment because we've used so many great phrases today and I want to make sure listeners catch them all.
Let's do it.
Okay, phrase number 1, I'm planning to. What's the simple meaning?
It means I have decided to do this in the future. Example, I'm planning to visit my family next month.
Love it. Phrase number 2, I'm looking forward to.
It means I feel happy and excited about something coming up. Example, I'm really looking forward to this vacation.
Phrase number 3, can't wait to.
Super excited about something, even stronger than looking forward to. Example, I can't wait to try the food in Mexico City.
Okay, phrase number 4, we made the most of it.
Even though something wasn't perfect, we still enjoyed it and did the best we could. Example, it rained the whole day, but we made the most of it and explored the museums.
And phrase number 5, you should definitely check out.
A strong, confident recommendation. Example, if you go to Tokyo, you should definitely check out Shibuya Crossing at night.
5 amazing phrases. Listeners, write those down, save this episode, and practice using one of them today. Just one. That's all you need.
That's such good advice, May. One phrase a day changes everything over time.
Okay, let me do my recap because I always feel like recapping helps things stick. So today, we talked about how to discuss travel plans in English. You start with where, when, and who with. You use I'm planning to for decided trips and I'm thinking about for ideas.
Good so far.
Then we talked about how to describe activities using looking forward to, can't wait to, and hoping to, and how to recommend places using you should definitely check out. And for past trips, we use phrases like it was incredible and the highlight was.
That's a perfect summary, May. I'll just add one final thought. Travel conversations are really about connection. When you share your travel plans or your travel stories, you're inviting people into your world, and English gives you the tools to do that beautifully.
That's such a great final thought. And honestly, after today, I feel like I can actually have this conversation in English without freezing.
You're gonna do great, and so are all of you listening right now.
Okay, before we go, we want to hear from you. Here's today's question. Where is your dream travel destination, and what are you hoping to do there? Tell us in the comments. Use one of today's phrases. We'd love to read them.
We genuinely read your comments, so don't be shy. Practice your English right there in the comments section.
And if this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who's also learning English. It really helps us grow this community.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Keep practicing, keep going, and remember, every conversation is a step forward.
We'll see you tomorrow with a brand new episode. Until then, safe travels, English learners.
Take care, everyone.